And now introducing Cee Journi.
On the day of our delivery, it was a cool yet warm fall crisp morning. I had on my custom hospital gown and a duffel bag full of cute outfits for the baby and I, because why not? We walked into the hospital, the automatic doors opened, and I could feel my feet connect to the ground. In that moment, I was empowered by what was about to take place. I was going to give birth. I was wheeled back into the operating room without my husband, but I still felt good because I had an amazing conversation with my OBGYN of 20 plus years. In the operating room, they had Marvin Gaye playing. They had the nurses and doctors dancing. The mood was set. I had a little bit of nervousness because I was having a scheduled C-section, but I still felt okay. That was until the spinal block. After the first failed attempt, I had so much pain. I just couldn't believe that it hurt so bad. The black nurse noticed the fear and terror in my eyes. She saw me crying and instructed me to take my arms, wrap them around her neck, and to lean forward as another doctor would try the second time to do the spinal block. This time around, I had even more pain and I screamed, "Do not touch me again. Nobody touch me. Get someone in here with experience." They too agreed that someone with experience needed to come in. They knew they weren't right. The head anesthesiologist entered the room and tried to make all these excuses as to why the other two doctors couldn't get it right. I wasn't hearing none of that. He attempted to do the third spinal block, and that pain was even worse. A pain like no other shot through the left side of my body, and my left arm and my left leg rose to the ceiling, and I just screamed, "Ah!" Why did this hurt so much? I couldn't believe the amount of pain that I was going through. Where was my husband? He would have known what to do as far as comforting me. The black nurse tried, but that was not good enough. A few moments after the spinal block kicked in, I began to have a reaction. It's like my nostrils collapsed. I couldn't breathe. I was having a very hard time. I continued to tell the doctors and nurses I couldn't breathe. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. I repeatedly said, and I was repeatedly ignored. I began to go into a panic because my eyes started rolling in the back of my head and I was losing consciousness. I began to think about the women in the fields who my ancestors dug deep and they had kids without any assistance of anyone but themselves. I had to power and channel that energy. I could not die here. We would not die here. The baby and I would survive. Finally, they put a mask on my face, but the oxygen mask covered my nose and my mouth. It made it even more difficult to breathe. So basically, the air that I'm breathing out, I could barely breathe back in. And my mouth was getting more and more dry. My lips were crinkling up, and it was just really, really bad. I began to panic even more as I began to lose consciousness and my eyes were steadily rolling in the back of my head. I had to take that mask off or I was going to go into a place that who knows what would have happened to me if I lost consciousness. "Stop touching everything. This is a sterile facility," the nurse said. But I wasn't trying to hear that. I needed this mask off. The panic increased. "If you keep moving like that, we'll have to strap you down." No, don't strap me down. I don't want to be strapped down. I told myself to stay still, but I just couldn't. I had to fight. Before I knew it, the nurse came and attached the strap to the right arm of the hospital, the right side of the hospital bed. My right arm went inside. She attached the left strap to the hospital bed. My left arm went inside. And I was chained, strapped to the delivery bed. I was a prisoner during my delivery. I couldn't believe what I was going through. This was definitely not what I had expected. The situation even worsened with my breathing, and I thought about the women in the Bible who died during delivery. I think about the mistreatment of black women in the medical care system, and that I had no one there to advocate for me. My husband still wasn't back there yet. Where was he? Why hadn't they gotten him? Finally, my husband did enter into the room, but I wondered, did he know what happened to me? Did he even realize that I was strapped down like a criminal and that this was not normal? Once the mask was off, I attempted to breathe, and it was still hard. But the one sound that brought me joy was the sound of our baby girl crying. Then I knew that we would make it. It was amazing to me how the mood had changed to something so beautiful, to something so horrific, to something back beautiful again when I held our baby girl. And holding our 8-pound, 21-ounce baby girl gave me joy. At that moment, I knew that we serve a mighty God and that He's a promise keeper. I was so elated to hold her. I didn't expect all of this trauma after 7 years of infertility and trying to conceive. But I stand here today saying that advocacy is important, not only during your pregnancy, but also during your delivery. And this time around, my young king and I, we're going to have advocates.